Thank you, Sean, and ascend. Well, in preparation for today's Science of Mind lesson, I invite us to affirm the following. I am open and receptive as I receive this message today. Something I am about to hear applies to my life. I am here by divine appointment to receive spiritual tools for personal transformation and to help make the world a better place. My life's purpose is already within me, and I am committed to its unfoldment. As I hear truth today, I am set free, and so are you. Let's grow together. My title today is Into the Unknown. And in the medieval period, cartographers made maps of the known world, doing the best that they could with what information was available to them. And beyond what was known, they tended to make little pictures of monsters and mythological creatures. And these uncharted areas were where dangers were thought to exist. A couple of world maps from the 1500s actually marked these unknown areas with the following warning: here be dragons. Well, that was enough to intimidate most people. Who wants to take a chance on riling up a dragon? On the other hand, in every area, there are a few folks who've plunged into the unknown and found not dangers, but riches and glory. And the people who are remembered by history were those who dared to explore the unknown. If you and I don't live the purpose we are called to be, we lose out, and so does the world. We lose out because our life isn't fulfilled, and the world loses out because we are each unique, so there's no one else who can fulfill the purpose that we are here to express. The story is told of Rabbi Zusia, who was a timid little man who lived a humble life. And one day the rabbi stood before his congregation and said, "When I die and have to present myself before the celestial tribune, they will not ask me, 'Zusia, why were you not Moses?' Because I would say, 'Moses was a prophet, and I'm not.' And they will not say, 'Zusia, why were you not Jeremiah?' For I would say, 'Jeremiah was a writer, and I'm not.' But then they will say, 'Zusia, why were you not Zusia?' And to this, I will have no answer." Well, too often we get fixated on what we perceive to be important jobs, CEOs, cutting-edge research scientists, and thought leaders. And all of these are good, and we're fortunate to have them. But the world also needs plumbers, landscapers, carpenters, and welders. And they're just as important as those in the prestige occupations. As Ann Landers said, the society that praises philosophers but looks down on plumbers has a problem. Neither its theories or its pipes will hold water. And of course, no matter what one's occupation may be, the world needs people who love, who are making a conscious decision to make the world a better place. And no matter what your earthly occupation might be or might have been, your real occupation is something higher. Life is a job, and you're called upon to do that job a little bit better today than you did yesterday. Gloria Karpinski has this interesting question. She says, imagine you're offered a job and you don't know what it is. You don't know where it is. You don't know what you have to do. And you don't know what you'll be paid. All you know is that you have to trust. Would you be interested? Actually, you're going to love it. It's the only job in the whole world worth having because it's when you realize that the divine says to you, "I want all of you. Sign right here." Well, life is not meaningless. Life is not a random accident. Life is not something to be endured in hopes that something better will come along. Life has a purpose, and you are here to fulfill that purpose. And if you're one of our regulars, you may have heard this affirmation: I am a unique expression of spirit. I am here on purpose for a purpose. Are you living your purpose? Have you even figured out what your purpose might be? If not, take a moment and ask yourself, what are you willing to change? What are you willing to shift? And what are you willing to let go of to begin living your purpose? I think we all have this yearning that leads us to a search for meaning in our lives. We may not know exactly how it's going to turn out, so we have to have faith in life. There are many definitions of faith, but for our purposes today, I'm going to define it as faith is our willingness to experience life just as it unfolds, with all its pain and all its promise. And faith, therefore, means the willingness to step into the unknown. And is that scary? Well, it can be. But Joseph Campbell reminds us that nothing is exciting if you know what the outcome is going to be. A few years ago, Donald Rumsfeld famously said, "There are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things that we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns, the ones we didn't know we don't know." Sounds a little like a tongue twister. But as Scientific American points out, where the known meets the unknown is where science begins. And I think we could adapt that statement to our lives. When the known meets the unknown is where our potential begins. Our growth and happiness are found in the unknown. If we want a bigger, better experience of life, we can't stay where we are right now. We've got to move into that place called the unknown. But so often we're reluctant to do that because we're afraid. There's a classic book by Susan Jeffers called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And in it, she outlines what she calls 5 truths about fear. Number 1, the fear will never go away as long as you continue to grow as an individual. Number 2, the only way to get rid of the fear of doing something is to go out and do it. Number 3, the only way to feel better about yourself is to go out and do it. Number 4, not only are you going to experience fear whenever you're on unfamiliar territory, but so is everybody else. And number 5, pushing through fear is less frightening than living with the underlying fear that comes from a feeling of helplessness. So let's take a look at these 5 truths. The fear will never go away as long as you continue to grow as an individual. This is another way of saying that you can't grow without stepping into the unknown, and stepping into the unknown usually involves some fear. No one, however, ever improved their lot in life by staying put, and so often we want a better life without having to change, which is not going to happen. The only way to get rid of the fear of doing something is to go out and do it. It's the same principle as getting thrown off a horse. Get right back on it, and the sooner the better. And 9 times out of 10, our fears turn out to be exaggerated. And even if they're not, we can deal with whatever it is, because Spirit has equipped us with what we need to do what we must do. As Emerson said, do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. The only way to feel better about yourself is to go out and do it. Fear is nothing to be ashamed of, but doing nothing in the face of fear is psychologically debilitating. Heroes are not those without fear. Heroes are those who feel the fear but confront it head on. And likewise, fear doesn't make you a coward. Running away or being paralyzed makes you a coward. When you're proactive in the face of fear, you experience a boost in self-esteem. You build spiritual muscle every time you overcome fear of the unknown. And that gives you the confidence to deal with the next unknown. Not only are you going to experience fear whenever you're on unfamiliar territory, but so is everyone else. In other words, the unknown brings out the anxiety in everyone, so never feel that there's something wrong with you for being apprehensive, because others have the same anxieties. I'm personally acquainted with some world-class daredevils. They do astonishing things, and I can tell you that they are not fearless, devil-may-care people. They confront danger for a living. They respect the danger and that they're facing because they know that their rigorous physical training and mental conditioning will enable them to successfully do whatever they've set out to do. And if these people can face the fear and do it anyway, so can we. Pushing through fear is less frightening than living with the underlying fear that comes from a feeling of helplessness. To feel helpless is to go through life afraid of your own shadow, a victim, afraid of everyone else's shadow, at the mercy of every obstacle that may be in your path. If you never face fear and do it anyway, you'll live your life in a prison of your own construction. You'll hold the keys to that prison, but you'll be afraid to use them. Perhaps the biggest fear of all, the one that really keeps us stuck, is, I can't handle it. At the bottom of every one of our fears is simply the fear that you can't handle whatever life may bring you. But the truth is, if you knew that you could handle anything that comes your way, what would you possibly have to fear? Or as Robert Schuller put it, what great thing would you try if you knew you could not fail? All you have to do to diminish your fear is develop more trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Some fear is instinctual and keeps us alert to trouble, but the rest, the part that holds us back from personal growth, is inappropriate and destructive, and perhaps can be blamed on our conditioning. What matters is that you begin now to develop your trust in yourself until you reach the point where you can say, whatever happens to me in any situation, I can handle it. We can't escape fear. We can't outrun it. We can only transform it into a companion that accompanies us on all of our exciting adventures. It can provide the energy we need to move forward, and it need not be an anchor holding us trapped in one spot. If everybody feels fear when approaching something totally new in life, and yet so many out there are doing it in spite of their fear, then we must conclude that fear is not the problem. The real issue has nothing to do with the fear itself, but rather how we hold the fear, how we respond to it. For some, the fear is totally irrelevant. For others, it creates a state of paralysis. The former hold their fear from a position of power. They look at it as a choice. And the latter hold it from a position of pain, helplessness, depression, paralysis. The secret to handling fear is to move yourself from a position of pain to a position of power. And the fact that you have the fear then becomes irrelevant. So, thinking about your pain to power vocabulary, you could say, it's a problem. And that comes from pain. But power would be, it's an opportunity. Pain would say, life's a struggle. Power would say, life's an adventure. I hope becomes I know. And it's terrible becomes a learning experience. You can think of this alchemy, this vocabulary makeover, as a kind of alchemy. Instead of turning lead into gold, you're turning defeatist thinking into victorious thinking. So begin eliminating the words terrible, can't, problem, struggle, and should from your vocabulary. And when you give your subconscious these messages, your subconscious believes you. Not only does your sense of yourself change with a more powerful vocabulary, but so does your presence in the world. People who display an inner strength are treated differently from those who come across as weak. The more powerfully you speak, the more you'll be a force in the world around you. You can also bring more power into your life by expanding your comfort zone. Try each day to do a little something that pushes you outside of your comfort zone. Eleanor Roosevelt said that she always wanted to do one thing every day that scared her. And she wrote in a book that had a chapter called Fear, the Great Enemy, "Fear has always seemed to me to be the worst stumbling block which anyone has to face. It is the great crippler. Looking back, it strikes me that my childhood and my early youth were one long battle against fear." And as she matured, Eleanor Roosevelt consciously attempted to reduce her fears by successfully accomplishing tasks that caused her apprehension, also known as feeling the fear and doing it anyway. She wrote, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You're able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along." The danger lies in refusing to face the fear, not daring to come to grips with it. If you fail anywhere along the line, it will take away your confidence. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Take a risk every day. One small, bold stroke that'll make you feel great once you've done it. And even if it doesn't work out the way you thought it would, at least you tried. You didn't sit back powerless. As your power builds, so does your confidence, so that stretching your comfort zone becomes easier and easier. And the magnitude of the risks you take also expands. And as long as you're taking risks, no matter how small, you're moving yourself to a more powerful position. Joseph Campbell wrote, "Here's a piece of advice that was given a young Native American boy upon his initiation. As you go the way of life, you will see a great chasm. Jump. It's not as wide as you think." When you feel yourself hesitating, take the leap instead of backing away. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Great people are simply ordinary people who have an extraordinary amount of determination. They just keep on going, and they refuse to let fear make them quit. It's said that the Bible contains the command, "Fear not," in various ways, 365 times. That is a fear not for every day of the year. And why does God insist that you should not be defeated by fear? Because God knows that you are made of superior stuff that is stronger than fear. Rabbi Shani Lebowitz wrote, "When you look within, you face your fears and move beyond them. You see yourself as God sees you, and hear yourself as God hears you. In the breath that you share with God, the rhythm of your heart calms the thoughts of your mind, and the wings of your spirit soar. Then you recognize that in the ordinary, there is an extraordinary, profound you." So often people say, "Oh, I'll do it when I get enough money," or "I'll do it when the kids are grown," or "I'll do it when it's more convenient." I heard about a man who had been married for a few years, and a friend asked him, "When are you going to have kids?" And he replied, "When we have enough money." And his friend laughed and said, "Well, if you wait for that, you'll never have kids because you'll never have enough money." This is the same point that Leo Buscaglia made when he said, "If you're not doing it now, you never will do it. Don't wait for tomorrow. Do what you want to do. Do it, and do it now. For now is all there is. Now is all that's real." Life presents us with all kinds of lessons, but they're not useful to us unless we recognize them and are open to them. Even the difficult lessons are gifts and guides to us. Every event in our lives has something in it that can teach us. The lessons and opportunities that are pleasant are easy to see, You get a promotion at work, you find a new love in your life, you become a first-time parent or grandparent. All those things contain so many lessons, and it's easy to see them. But the more difficult lessons are a little harder to recognize as opportunities, so we often resist them. A job loss, a divorce, death, whatever. They look more like a catastrophe than a lesson. But we can move away from resistance by the simple act of realizing that we're resisting. A clenched jaw, tightness in the chest, thoughts like, why do I have to deal with this? I don't need this. I don't want this. These are clues that we're resisting. And once we're aware of that, we can remind ourselves that we are at choice, and we can continue to resist, or we can strive to learn the lesson in the experience. Deepak Chopra tells us that the unknown is a field of possibilities, an adventure that waits for all of us. It's a start to something new. We are essentially being reborn again during the process of the unknown. The unknown is not a terrible place. It's our destiny we create each day by being true to ourselves. Without uncertainty and the unknown, life is just a stale repetition of outworn memories. You become the victim of the past, and your tormentor today is yourself left over from yesterday. Relinquish your attachment to the known, step into the unknown, and you will step into the field of all possibilities. Wherever we are and wherever we may go, Spirit is right here where we are. Spirit is here in all its power and all its majesty, and it's all there, all here, just waiting to be used to help us live our lives and fulfill our purposes. This beautiful passage by Marianne Williamson is titled, Our Deepest Fear. You've probably heard it before. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, and fabulous and talented? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. The very best part of stepping into the unknown isn't what you find there, although that can be very interesting. The best part of stepping into the unknown is who you become in the process. In recent years, the world at large has become familiar with the law of attraction. The idea that we attract into our lives whatever we're focusing on. And the law of attraction states that whatever can be imagined and held in the mind is achievable if you take action on a plan to get to where you want to be. Now, a lot of people say, oh, it can't possibly be that simple. There has to be a catch. And of course there is. Whatever you hold in mind will come to you if you take action on a plan to get where you want to be. It's like that book, Think and Grow Rich. It's a wonderful book with a timeless message, but it has a misleading title. Yes, proper thinking is absolutely necessary for success in life, but it has to be combined with action. No one ever became a millionaire by simply sitting around thinking about being one. I know that personally. So, when we think of the law of attraction, we need to remember this. The law of attraction only has traction if we take action. The law of attraction only has traction if we take action. And action means stepping into the unknown. Most of the time, we're afraid to step into the unknown because we don't know what's on the other side. The feeling of uncertainty we experience when facing the unknown can be disorienting and disconcerting. However, as we live our lives, we discover that within the uncertainty of the unknown lies the best experiences in life. Everything you want is on the other side, but you'll miss out on life itself. When you walk to the edge of all the light you have and take that first step into the darkness of the unknown, you must believe that one of two things will happen. There will be something solid for you to stand upon, or you will be taught to fly. Many people refer to stepping into the unknown as a leap of faith. Letting go of the known for the unknown requires courage, confidence, and the belief that there is indeed a power for good in the universe, a power that is always at work, fulfilling the order you have placed with the universe, a power that is greater than you are and yet is what you are, a power that is greater than any fear and any adversity. At any given moment, you can take that leap of faith into the unknown, knowing that it's all good because God got there first. And so it is.